All right, welcome to the first paid review in a long time. So today we're going to be reviewing The Star of Bulan by Dawson Jones. Right off the bat, this is 8 out of 10. This manga is great. It's great, and I was blown away by the authenticity of it. This manga comes from the heart. This manga is well cooked. This manga is raw and authentic, and this guy has something to say. That's why it gets an 8 out of 10. That's why it easily passes and gets a good score under the Koffee comic standards, right? Because the author, Mr. Jones, truly had something he wanted to share with the world. He did not just create a story for the sake of dopamine, for the sake of getting likes, clicks, and retweets. No, there was something at the back of his mind, something in his heart that he just wanted to put into words and pictures. And this is the product of that. You see, it's stories like this that can actually make a difference, depending on what part of the journey you're in your life. There are many things that are explored here. A lot of ancient philosophies and shamanism and whatnot, which we're going to go through. Some of it, obviously, I don't agree with. But nonetheless, I think some, depending on the journey they're on, would agree with it. And the journey that Mr. Jones is on, right? He felt, I suppose, inspired by all the information, and he put it in a book, right? So real quick, before we even move on, here are the MANAA ingredients. Out of the four, how much does the Star of Bulan achieve? Real quick, for me, it achieves 2 out of 4, right? It achieves familiarity because the experiences that you are going to see in this manga, the life experiences of these characters, they're familiar to me because I lived it. They're relatable to me because I lived it, you see. So that's 2 out of 4, but it does not present hope for me because the main character finds himself in the situation he's in, and he doesn't really question the world that he's in. Also, he does not make a personal declaration that he wants the world to be a certain way or he wants his life to be a certain way. So immediately, I cannot really relate with the main character himself, but I can relate with the core of the story. I can relate with the world building. I can relate with some of the cultural references. But the part that actually could bring hope to a reader, I don't feel that because the main character doesn't represent hope, right? He finds himself in this world and he goes with the flow and does what he's being told and taught, right? In the name of it's the right thing to do, okay. But ultimately, I'm just not like that. Whoever just goes with the flow and accepts the situation they just found themselves in and just go with the flow, you cannot make a difference. You cannot make an impact. And because you can't do that, it means it cannot be inspiring. Now, the manga itself is inspiring because of Mr. Jones. Now, I'm greatly inspired by Mr. Jones because his art style is out of this world. I'm greatly inspired by him because his understanding of the Trinity and the authenticity of the craft is extremely well executed. It's pure gold. I'm more inspired by Mr. Jones himself than the actual product. And that is because I don't really relate with the main character himself. You see, most readers, they want to see themselves in the main character or some of the other characters. I did not see myself in any of the characters. I didn't. I saw other people I know in the characters who almost ruined my life. That's why I could always relate. So, but ultimately, 2 out of the 4 is good enough. You know, it's half. But even if you were to get 1, it means you have potential. But 2 out of 4, good enough, 8 out of 10, but let's get into it. So this is the cover, very nice and minimalistic. You can see how nice and simple, but nicely detailed the character designs are and the art style. I like how his traditional art style is so, it's got this old school vibe to it, you know? And again, it's because it's coming from the heart. He didn't just draw senselessly trying to entertain you. He wanted to share something with you. There's a difference between those who want to entertain you and those who want to share something with you. So it opens up with the star in the sky and how there's a bunch of dead people on the battlefield in a stab line. And notice how he drew this. This looks like maybe he just used a black brush and some tones. It looks great, man. Like, it just fits the world building. It fits, and it fits the lore as well. Most people, when they create stories like this, their art style does not synchronize with the lore. Kind of doesn't, you know, but Mr. Jones was able to achieve that. So it says a long time ago, these two tribes were at war, and it brought about great destruction. And nature itself got so mad that it ended up creating the Star of Bulan to bring about death upon both tribes. So in order to combat this endeavor, both tribes decided to work together to put an end to this curse, you see. And I like that. Immediately, I was more hooked, because it's always about the hook. So, okay, Koffee, what is the hook here? For me, it's not the main character that is the hook. It's not the power system. It's not even the other characters. I was hooked immediately by this page here, that nature itself created the Star of Bulan to destroy both tribes, to put an end to their conflict, because their conflict is destroying, you know, nature. So I was like, hey, that's pretty interesting. I'm hooked. I'm honestly hooked. How is it that nature can do this? You know, I want to know more about this world. So I was instantly hooked by just that. It's got a hook. So we open up and we see the main character, Yasin. I will say that at first I thought this was a girl. I had no idea that this is a boy. And there are times where he looks like a man. He looks like a proper teenager, but from here and some other pages, he doesn't look like a boy at all. He looks like a girl. So one criticism is that character consistency seems to be a bit of an issue. One time it looks like a girl, one time it looks like a guy. He's even dressed like a girl. Because if we go back to the cover here, is he wearing pants? No. I get some tribes had dudes wear clothes like this. We're just used to women wearing attire like this. So when it's black and white, it's like, is this a guy or is this a girl? You'd think it's a girl. You see, here it looks like it's pants, but it's not. You see? So here he says he finally made a Jin Gyoku. Now, there's a lot of words that are borrowed from Japan, from even my own tribe, borrowing from multiple lores, from multiple places, but all of it fits very well. Mr. Jones was able to take all sorts of inspiration from multiple places and actually make a nice, good, thick, juicy burger with it. It doesn't feel out of place. It actually doesn't, you know? So good on him for able to do that. Also, Mr. Jones understands the Trinity 1 billion%. He abides by the standards of the manga craft 1 billion%. There was a hunchback who said, I still don't abide by these standards, but he couldn't tell me why. Because he doesn't understand them and he can't draw comics, and he will be roasted soon enough. You know who you are, hunchback. You're watching this and you're waiting for that roast like a little good doggy. We're going to be showing the screenshots of the messages as well, because he wanted it. He's a glutton for punishment. But anyway, Mr. Jones understands very well the Trinity. His panel game is beyond passable. Now, let's take a look at passable again. See, this is passable. Passable is for those who don't have the time, because of their circumstance, to go beyond. But that does not mean you're going to sacrifice quality, right? It means you're going to make sure what is on the plate will be enough to satisfy the reader. Here are the plates. And they're the first 3 examples of passable. 1, 2, 3. Mr. Jones is number 4. He built a gourmet dish, right? He had the time, he had the dedication, he had the heart, right? His circumstance allows him to go beyond and cook extra, extra, and extra, right? Full dish, gourmet, filled to the max. But some of us, we recognize our weaknesses. And we say, you know what? Before I burn myself to death by burning out, I need to create passable. And here on passable, there are 3 choices you got how you want to dish it up. And I know how I dish up mine, right? Which is the second one. This is my dish over here. But anyway, going back to the ingredients. So Mr. Jones understands the Trinity very well. And if you hunchbacks still don't understand what that is, you still don't get the standards, it's because you're not meant to be here. You're not meant to be an artist. You're just a fraud trying to pretend that you're something you can never be. So, so here he was introduced to Erica, a girl from the other village who needs to be sacrificed to appease the Star of Bulan. And so Yasin is tasked with guiding her to the Queen of Shamanism, Queen Hewa Hewa. So here they're on the journey and they're talking about, well, one another. So Yasin asks, "Are you okay?" And she says, "Yeah," blah, blah, blah. And then they see a strange footprint. Now see, the world building again is awesome. They see a strange footprint and Yasin explains that this is the Dafi, a deer spirit of Nijimi Forest. The first time I saw this thing, I was like, that looks like Moloch. It looks straight up like Moloch. It looks, I mean, I'm not hating on you, Mr. Jones. This thing is amazing. And I wish you create another chapter, because this felt like a one shot. I hope you turn this into a story, or if you're working on something else, please do so. I just got the heebie-jeebies. And if you can give Koffee comments to heebie-jeebies, you know you extrapolated from something real. That looks straight up like Moloch, right? Moloch, you know, the demon that people were sacrificing their little kids to and so on. So, well, what do you know about Moloch? You never met him. How do you know? How sure are you? My grandmother was a witch doctor, remember? I know all about this stuff, right? So it was hitting real close to home because it's like hot damn, right? So they are talking about the Dafi spirit, and it appears in the moonlight and performs the Shishidori dance of fertility and longevity. And then the girl Erica explains that when a Shishi girl attained Menereke, I don't know what that means, as thanks for Dafi's blessing, we pour our menstrual blood in the river for healthy fertility. Now that's absolutely atrocious, right? But there are tribes that do that. Not here, not my tribe, at least maybe in the ancient times, but they don't do that. But ultimately, I could understand. And as gross as it is, I was totally grossed out and totally weirded out, but I can actually relate because I know that these things are real and it happens, you know? So I was really, again, intrigued by the world building, the lore. It's as if this manga can have its own little lore book and have its own monsters that the characters have to deal with. No, so Yasin is a shaman, right? He's a shaman, he's a guardian, and he's pretty much training to be a stronger one. So we encounter the first conflict here where there's a lion approaching. And here, look at how Yasin looks like here. Look at how Erica looks like here. They both look older. Look at the proportions of Yasin here. He looks way more older, way more masculine compared to the pages here. Erica here looks like she's 11 or 9. But here she looks like a teenager, 14 or 15. Yasin looks 15 or 16. You see? So there's a bit of inconsistencies for the character designs, but oh well, it happens. So a lion is approaching, comes to attack, and he tells Erica to run, and then the action begins. So he calls it a koban, which, you see, the words are so cool. A koban is I think it's a evil spirit. I forgot the explanation. And then here he powers up Hen Kai Pan. That is so cool, man. This reminded me of Hunter x Hunter, actually, like Ja John Ken, you know, but now it's Hen Kai Pan. That is really cool. That's really cool. Again, look how different he looks here compared to the other pages. He looks like a completely different character now. Even here, he's not shaded. Notice how Mr. Jones shades in his dark-skinned characters. He actually scratches the darkness on them sometimes, most of the time, because here he used dark tone. Makes me wonder, it's like, well, why didn't you use it here, bro? You know, because here he looks like somebody else. He looks like somebody else here. 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 It happens, but it shouldn't happen as often as this. But oh well, it's an easy fix. And then he slices the lion up. Well, the Koban spirit. So he asks it, what torments your soul to bring about such hatred? Then it says, foolish human, I'm going to kill you because your stupid war ended up killing my children. So I'm going to kill you, and may the star of Bulan kill you all. So then they ask for forgiveness, O Koban spirit. So these are definitely people of the land. It reminds me of like Native Americans, how, you know, they see, it's like they are one with nature, and animals can be, well, not their friend like that, but there's a respect for one another. You know, even though a bear would kill you with no questions, they don't respect you. They don't know what that is, but their understanding, their lore, their philosophy is like, we can respect one another. You see? So it's pretty interesting. So we find out that Erica got sliced up by the Koban, and that by doing so, she got cursed. Now her soul is even cursed, and she's deteriorating. So she gets picked up, and so they are making headway to the Queen of Koban. And here they mentioning something. Yasin, earlier you mentioned you were abandoned in the mountains. I was too. I never knew my mother and father. It's the reason I was chosen to be sacrificed. I'm a liability in the eyes of my tribe. They said saving humanity is something I should honor, but I'm scared. Can someone like me, a child who wasn't wanted, be a savior of humanity? I can relate to this. Now, I wasn't abandoned by my parents, but I know people in the family who were abandoned by theirs. And I've seen how it affects them, how it affects their behavior, their thinking. Remember, I once said that a lot of Negroes like being loud, right? Even if it's negative attention that they receive, it's attention nonetheless that they never got because pops and mother ran off, you know? I can relate. I totally can relate, and I can understand. You see, stories like this can have a positive impact to people like me because I lived real life. I didn't hide away in the basement for the rest of my life because I got bullied at school. You see, I went out there, saw, lived life, and understood people got problems. But if you then want to call yourself a victim for all eternity, you will not get my respect. I will roast you for it. You have to overcome your problems. You have to. But the hunchback and the ghoul and the golem, they don't overcome. Instead, they want to pounce on you and hate on you because you have overcome, you have powered up, right? And have done something about it. And they still haven't, and they are hating you because they're jealous, envious that you are brave and they are pathetic. So this was a very nice, heartfelt moment. So Yasin remembers the words of his teacher over here. You must learn to detach oneself from worldly influence. We walk the path of Nod, unclouded by the chains of Ka, which is spirit, means spirit, according to the explanation here. So, again, another little philosophy that kind of reminds me of Buddhism, but everything seems to, again, blend in very well. So they arrive at the Koffee village and a little piece of law is explained. Now, the way the village is designed here reminds me of how long ago tribes in South Africa would actually establish their villages. It would look like this. I mean, heck, look like this mostly everywhere, mostly like hundreds and hundreds of years ago. But it just looked interesting. I could relate. But it also has this Japanese aesthetic to it also. So that's also interesting. So here they arrive and they're presenting the shaman queen, Hewa Hewa. And this looks like an album cover. This got some Hunter x Hunter vibes. Why do I say that? Because in Hunter x Hunter, the art style can shift to simplified, to semi-realism, to pure realism. Well, that's got ink and all. And it's just so cool how Togashi does that, and Mr. Jones does that also. So it's pretty cool because it doesn't feel out of place. And here they finally arrived. And once again, we have a problem with the character design consistency. Here, Yasin has big lips as if he's wearing lipstick. It's like, but what? He didn't have lips like this in the beginning. And he looks much shorter and much younger compared to when he was fighting the lion. You see what I mean? It's just something that needs to be examined always. So they put the girl, Erica, down, and the shaman queen says, look, there's nothing I can do. That Koban spirit that infected her is too strong, it's too sinister. And I understand why the lion did that. So then she starts to explain a bit of the philosophy about the absurdity of reality, right? Now, I'm a simple guy. I like simplified things. Mr. Jones is extrapolating from the knowledge that he has from the doctrines of what he studied. And that's fine. The long story short is that this woman's explaining, the shaman queen is explaining the absurdity of life, And for me, I was like, well, I suppose this is how they explain it in this shaman way, Her saying here to be happy is to be unhappy, to grow old is to die, to have peace is to have chaos. The true essence of madness, that is what shines above us now, the star of Bolan. Now, here I was kind of confused that, is it the star of Bolan that is causing the absurdity that to be happy is to be unhappy, to grow old is to die, to have peace is to war? Because in reality, outside of the star of Bolan, that's how the world is. So I was a bit confused over there as to is the star of Bolan causing that? Because peace leads to war. That's why these two tribes were killing each other. I mean, that's my logic of how reality works. Peace does lead to war, and war leads to peace. It's a cycle. And why does this happen? Because reality is cursed. Reality is cursed, is built like this. We know this because it says so in Genesis. The world is just meant to have a cycle of rise and fall. Nothing can remain. It's absurd. I mean, how the heck can peace lead to war, right? Bad times make strong men, good times make weak men. See, it's rather absurd. It's like you can't just have peace. Nope, it's going to lead to war. What she says here is interesting. What we destroy and create is our call to nature. If we humans are cursed, then the laws of this world welcome it. So I like how she does talk about the curse, but it looks like the curse here is through the Star of Bulan. It's like, okay, that's fine. Maybe it's because I have a bias in what I know that I'm like, I don't really get it because you were cursed before the star was there. But okay, it works for the story. I think any other reader wouldn't have this same hiccup that I'm having, but okay. So then Yasin asks, so it's more than enough to let nature triumph and rid us of such suffering and madness, right? Then the queen says, and what about the girl? Do you feel she too deserves the Star of Bulan's wrath? She clings on to life, yet she is to be sacrificed. Do you want to save her and continue the path of apprehension? I don't know what he means by apprehension over there. But nonetheless, the true message of this story, from what I have gotten, is that human life is worth saving. Curse or no curse. Human life is precious. It's worth saving. Now, there are some people who deserve to be decapitated. You ain't gonna tell me that a pedophile and a hunchback deserve to walk around in these corridors that we walking around. Nah, bro, you getting decapitated, straight up, right? But obviously here, Erica is just an abandoned little girl. She doesn't know what's going on, so she's innocent, right? Hunchbacks are not innocent. They have to be burnt at the stake. So they then Yasin takes the girl to this creepy tree. In the center of Nijimu Forest stands the Jomon tree. It's protected by the deer god Daffy. Now, this is where it gets real creepy, man. Mr. Jones is a legend when it comes to contrast, right? Now, you guys know I talk about contrast and the importance of it, especially if you want to use passable, you have to be good at contrast. Like, it's number one on the rules of passable. But again, Mr. Jones is not using passable. He's going for the full-on dish, right? He's going full plate, right? So I just really like that. So here we are. They're in this creepy forest, and here comes the demon. Oh my goodness, Mr. Jones. Dude, what the heck, man? How the heck did you draw this thing? It is so horrifying. Truly horrifying. It's so horrifying, it's blasphemous, bro. Like, good on you for being able to execute the horror of this monstrosity that these people unfortunately worship. And I would know, because here, the same thing happens. People think monsters like this are on their side. They're not on your side, you know? Because if they were, why'd Granny try to kill me? Granny had the same superpowers of this tree of Daffy, of Spirit Daffy. She tried to kill me. She tried to kill all of us with her magic superpowers. You can be like, oh, that's nonsense. Do you live here? You will never believe, even if you were to see it. Because everything for a hunchback Westerner is just meant to be entertainment because they don't understand it. That just is so ignorant and profoundly stupid, you know? But anyways, so this animal, this demon, the spirit Daffy, heals the girl, And look how creepy the process is. Oh man, it's getting pregnant. Oh, nasty, bro. But hey, it's okay because it's applicable in the story. It's creepy. My eyes are watering. I feel twisted just looking at it. Whew, let's change the channel. So Erica wakes up and Yasin says, the dear God lifted the curse. Yasin, did you bring me here? Don't move too much. I wanted you to decide for yourself whether you really want to be sacrificed. After everything that has happened, what if nothing changes? Your sacrifice could be in vain. Are you okay with that? Erica. Then she kisses the dude and she remembers this saying from her granny. The shadow of shame follows thee that die without blessing. The breath that guides the human whistle. Those were the last words my grandmother told me before she passed. Those are some nice words. See what I'm saying? How there's true authenticity in this story, man. Mr. Jones has something to share. Like, if you never understood what I meant, I hope you understand now by looking at this story. Okay? If you still don't get it, then you're just brain dead. And because you probably won't be ever able to do it anyway. So then Erica says, even though I'm frightened, it's thanks to you that I can finally understand the path I should take for myself and humanity. Erica decided to merge with the Star of Bulan. The queen and her followers gathered to perform the ritual. And this art style here, oh man, it's kind of reminds me a bit of Chainsaw Man now, but it is way more smooth than Chainsaw Man, right? I think I've seen this image before. Was it on an album cover or something? I've seen this before, man. Like there was reference used for this, surely. It looks real good. And we see Erica ascend to the star. And it is said here, as long as one's life is worth saving, then there is no question that humanity must live on. That was the last I was to see of her. Because of Erica, humanity lives on. And that's pretty much the end. So I'm guessing this is a one-shot, you see. But how it ends though, it's like there's a possibility of continuation, because here Yasin's master says, hey, you have a new training partner. Who is it? And it's Erica. And she came back as a genie, as it seems, a demigod. And she kind of looks like my fairy Lisa, even with the little star thing on the forehead. Not that Lisa has a star on her forehead, but it looks cool. It looks interesting. So that's the end of it, you know? And I wonder what could happen next, because it's like, well, if she's a demigod and she's the friend of Yasin, what possible enemy could come against them? And if she saved humanity and appeased the Star of Bulan, well, I suppose that's the end. I suppose if this were to be a series, obviously certain decisions have to be made differently, but ultimately, this is a straight up 8 out of 10, man. This is an 8 out of 10. Why am I giving it an 8? Simply because I could not relate to the main character at all. Couldn't. And because out of the ingredients, it gets 2 out of 4. But ultimately, it is a great manga. Ultimately, Mr. Jones himself is an inspiration to me and should be to you. Because this dude out here living his life, right? Living his life and just being a manga artist, doing it from the heart, going to conventions, and we're going to have him on an interview so he can explain how he's been going about it, you know, because he is definitely authentically living his life. He's not living in the shadow realm. He's not pursuing his ego as hunchbacks are doing. That's why his story has essence, has substance. because he has something to share. A brain dead maniac will be like, oh, it just reminds me of Hunter x Hunter and it's whatever. You brain dead. You can't even say why you don't like it. Brain dead, man. But anyways, well done, Mr. Jones. This is really great. I wonder what you're gonna do next. Your understanding of the Trinity is fantastic. Art style, fantastic. Just gotta fix that character consistency, and that's all there is to it. This was great. So yeah, people, if you want a paid review, because this is the feedback everybody really wants, you ain't gonna get it nowhere else. It's $20 per chapter, right? $20 per chapter, and the standard chapter length is 20 pages. If it's going to be more than 20 pages, then that's going to be extra. So anyways, you want one, go ahead and send me a DM on Instagram. You pay through PayPal. And yeah, until next time.